Capturing the night sky could be the most rewarding and frustrating things to burden our bank balances. That's nothing compared to the disaster that is trying to fix issues in processing. Processing is where a lot of good data disappears into the abyss, and there's one thing that too many of us avoid: the dreaded flat frames. Ugh. What if there was a better way than using our spare white t-shirt or a stack of paper? Fiddling to get just the right thickness, getting your laptop screen to stay put securely, isn't the best way. And that's why for this video, Wonder at Astro have teamed up with me to show you guys how to solve this problem. Finally, my MacBook Pro can be put aside and not have to worry about falling off and getting smashed. My name's Ben, and you're watching V4 Astro. As you progress with your deep sky imaging journey, you're going to go from nebulae to galaxies to integrated flux nebula and dark nebula. These all pose different problems we have to get around. And when you start chasing those faint targets, you're going to be doing longer and longer integration times. And when it comes to the stack, you're going to wonder, is this real data or is this bad flats? I've been there so many times, and really you can't bear the thought of having to reshoot flats, especially with my setup when I have to use a computer and a t-shirt and wait for night time. And if it's raining at night, you can't shoot new flats, and this will massively automate it. I can shoot new flats even when it's under my telescope cover, which is going to be incredible and genuinely life-changing. So here is the flat panel, gorgeous carbon fibre and metal construction. Includes a nice little card that shows the progression of Wonder at Astro as a company, and also shows the different products and the ones you might need. It comes with a 1 meter DC cable and a 1 meter USB Type B cable, and 4 nylon cable straps. So here are some close-ups of the flat panel. As you can see, it's nice thin and it's made of carbon fibre. You can see the flat panel itself, and the mounting point on the motor has nice soft pads so it won't scuff up your telescope. On the side we've got a power light and USB Type B input for data, and on the other side we've got the DC power jack. One of the biggest issues with using t-shirts, pieces of paper, trying to get flats, even with a computer screen like I have in the past, is it leads to inconsistencies. Trying to balance the different light levels by removing a piece of paper and trying to get the right thickness of t-shirt can be problematic when we're dealing with filters like luminance versus very narrow band filters like hydrogen alpha. Modern day filters are coming in at 3 nanometers and even narrower. These let in such little light that it's difficult to get your panel bright enough. And when you want to do luminous filters, you have to crank the brightness all the way down. And if you're using something like t-shirts or a piece of paper, as I say, you're having to constantly vary the thickness, and this can get frustrating. And this frustration can lead you to not wanting to shoot new flats. And there's a really critical part about getting proper illumination and getting the most out of your data. My problem, like a lot of Newtonian users, is that my telescope leaks some level of light. I'm in an area with minimal light pollution, so this isn't too much of a problem, but it does mean that I have to shoot my flats at night. This is always a catch-22. When it's clear, I want to be imaging and I don't want to be capturing calibration frames. But if I do it at the end of a session, it means I have to have a very early start in the morning, or stay up through the night, or set an alarm, and that's not fun. The other problem where I live is I have a lot of wildlife. I have had my telescope almost dive bombed and pooped on by birds. I have loads and loads of songbirds, and they do like to poop all over my setup. With my cover behind, you can see it's got a nice white dot where one tried to almost poop on my mirror. My juice shield has been cleaned multiple times, and this presents the other problem. Dust and debris we don't want in our telescopes can be protected also with a flat panel. This panel I have today has a bunch of amazing features, and is a multitude of reasons why I wanted one. Making my flat session just quicker, automated and easier is one of the big reasons. Inconsistencies with flats often lead you to having to push the post-processing side of things, but really it's the calibration frames that just aren't good enough. The other thing I'm really looking forward to do is being able to sleep peacefully, knowing in the mornings I won't have any strikes with bird poo. It will automatically close and cover my telescope to stop anything getting inside. And that poses the other problem. What if there's dew during the night? Where I live, dew is a really big problem, but this panel has a 15-watt heater built in, and I can turn the heater on in the morning to make sure when the panel closes, it doesn't trap in moisture. This panel has loads of great features, as I say. We're going to go through them in a bit later on in this video. Here I have the Wanderer cover. This is the version V4-EC, and it's made of beautiful carbon fiber. This is the 240mm version, and it is beautiful. Full carbon fiber and machined metal. There is nothing cheap about this build quality. It is absolutely stunning, as you can see here. Installing this flat panel is supremely easy. It just goes literally over the front of your tube, and if you line it up so it sits centrally, it would actually just rest there, and you can then attach it with the included nylon straps. They also do offer a really cool option where you can have it extended over the front of your tube with a Losmandy plate. It's on a sliding rail that you can adjust forward and back, and this is designed for people who are using a dew shield. It's something I'm probably going to buy in the future, that way I can maintain my dew shield, but as we're during the summer, it's not too much of a problem. But this is really good for those using SCTs or Newtonians like myself. But for now, I'm just going to mount it as is, because I do have a secondary heater if I do need to use it. So let's get those straps attached and get the flat panel securely mounted to the front of the tube. So just really quickly while we're getting this set up, I should mention the heater is automated as well. You can configure it within Nina so it automatically turns on and off at different heat levels, so you can clear the dew just before you close it, or you can have it running all night. Also, the EC part of this name is for encoder. This has a built-in encoder so you can automatically detect its position during opening and closing. This should give you a lot of peace of mind so you know exactly how far open or how close it is, which is essential for remote applications when you cannot see your telescope. The only slight problem I have noticed is the shape of the end of the Skywatcher tubes is very slightly rounded. So it means when you attach these straps, it might want to slide off the end. So I've tried to get it right behind the lip or the end ring, and hopefully it sits quite snug underneath this. It shouldn't slip off. The only issue is that these screws are underneath here, so it's not a perfect fit, but it feels nice and secure, so it should stay there fine. So I'm going to get these spider ends chopped off the end of these nylon straps, and then I'm going to get it connected via USB on the side, get the power connected, and get it connected into Nina and load up the driver, and hopefully we should see it open for the very first time. This has been a really long time in the making. I've wanted a flat panel to make my life easier for literally years. I was using a £2,000 laptop in order to take my flat frames, and it was way too sketchy. I always worried that it was going to fall off and break, and as I've added more and more filters, the flat sessions got longer and longer. Hopefully this solves all my problems, and I cannot wait to hopefully get some robust flat frames. Something just to note and be aware of: when you install this flat panel, you would have changed the weight distribution of your setup. So you're very likely going to have to rebalance your setup, but it should be a one-time thing only, as long as you don't keep changing things and taking things on and off. But yeah, you will have to rebalance and factor in the weight of the flat panel. This one is around 500 or 600 grams. These smaller ones are obviously lighter. They also make a pro line of the same panel, and they go all the way up to, I think, 380mm of illuminated surface, which is for those really big 16-inch or so telescopes. Yes, I know scissors are not good for this, but use something sharper and it'll be a lot easier. So let's get this flat panel tested and opening. As you can see on the close-up, you can see that it drops and moves the motor a bit. If we close it again, you're going to see it shift towards the front of the tube and almost look like it's going to fall off. We're going to have to dress this a bit later on, but let's see if the imaging session goes well. Nighttime is finally here. Let's get the telescope uncovered and let's see if this flat panel works as expected. Hopefully it opens and closes fine, but I'm a little bit anxious to see how it actually goes. When you first use the equipment for the first time, there's loads of things that can go wrong, and the unexpected is what you should expect. So let's get it uncovered and see how it goes. Fingers crossed. Oh, being attacked by a moth. So I've got a moth friend. Seems they're attracted to this new flat panel I've got. So I've remoted into the telescope behind me via my phone, and we're going to start the sequence, and fingers crossed the flat panel opens nicely, doesn't crash into the telescope if we have any issues. So I guess this little guy can watch us as we do some astronomy. Well, anyway, we're going to press play and see if the flat panel opens behind us. Look at this guy. Oh, here we go. Wow, look at it go. Oh my gosh. Let's make sure it closes properly. Oh, perfect. And now it should start slewing. It should start slewing. Oh, amazing. Oh, perfect. Oh, that's just so cool. Oh my goodness. Let's make sure the flat panel stays on. Oh, amazing. So this automatically opened, didn't crash. Telescope slewing and away it goes. Oh my god, amazing. A fully automated setup finally. So we can see Nina on my screen here via my phone, and it's just currently doing a plate solve, and then it's going to get to doing some imaging. Here we are in the Wanderer Empire software. It's really simple and easy to use. So we're going to get connected and we immediately get notified there is an update. So if we go over to the left hand side, we can go to the update. It's automatically selected the Wanderer cover V4-EC, and we go down and we select the COM port, option 1, and then click upload. The instructions, if you get lost, they're on the right hand side, which is very helpful and easy to follow. Once this is successfully updated, we can go back to the cover and reconnect. To update, you have to make sure you're disconnected. Over here we can see how we can set the original open and close positions. My advice is to take it slow and do it incrementally so you can make sure it's set properly. Just make sure you avoid any obstructions when it's opening, and when it's closed you don't force the motor closed. Now let's go back to Nina and get everything connected. This is always an anxious moment and we wait and make sure everything's connected. There's nothing worse than an error during this. So here I am, I'm just testing the flat panel with a random brightness value of 150. We're going to see if it turns on, because I'm curious to see how bright it is. Wow, look at it shine away. This flat panel goes really bright even with half setting. So I'm going to go to the framing wizard and frame up my target SH2-101, or better known as the Tulip Nebula. So I'm going to configure my Nina sequence in order to add the flat panel so it can open and close at the beginning and end respectively of my sequence. This is important to remember, otherwise the flat panel won't open. Here we can have my guiding. We can see it's actually performing really good. The scene conditions were amazing, which really does help when you're using an off-axis guider. If we zoom in, we can see the stars are super crispy, so I know the data is going to come out amazing. Really happy with the way it's performing, and even with the flat panel, my setup is still very happy with guiding and tracking. So I get up in the morning and I see the flat panel has closed automatically to protect my telescope interior from all sorts of junk. And as you can see, it successfully blocked things from falling inside of the telescope tube. This automatically closing in the morning will take stress away from your worries and your telescope in case anything falls inside or birds try and poo inside your telescope, which can be really, really costly. This is incredible, and the fact it's all automatic and computer controlled, I don't have to do anything extra and it will automatically close. If you live in the countryside with lots of wildlife, this is something you might want to consider. This could protect your very valuable purchase. So thank you once again to Wanderer Astro for hooking me up with this panel. I did buy it myself, although they did give me a discount. So thank you so much to Wanderer Astro. If you want to buy this flat panel, you can check it out in the link below, sold by First Light Optics. They ship worldwide and they have fast and speedy delivery. They also offer some of the best prices on astronomy kit around the world. Wanderer Astro also make a load of other great Astro accessories. They have the Wanderer Astro Rotator in various different sizes for different camera setups. The mini version offers some crazy back focus distance, so if you're like me and you only have a few millimeters spare, the Wanderer Astro Mini Rotator is for you. It's probably better in my opinion than the ZWO option they've recently brought out because it's much chunkier and can't actually hold as much weight as the Wanderer Astro. They also make this flat panel but just as a cover, so if you don't need the lighting feature, you can have it just as a dust cover that's automated, and they offer that too. They've also recently released the electronic tilt adjuster, which is incredible. Electronically adjust your tilt remotely and do it much more precisely than you possibly can just with some screwdrivers in your hands. Something I just want to quickly add in voiceover is the increase in remote observatories like Starfront over in Texas. The need for automation is higher than ever. Things like this automatic tilt adjuster means you can use fast optics and have the confidence that you can be able to adjust it remotely, and you'll get the best out of your telescopes and get the money's worth when you're paying for the time at these observatories. And if you want to stay up to date when Wanderer release new cool products like the ETA electronic tilt adjuster, sign up to their newsletter and you will know about that news first. Thank you once again to Wanderer Astro for hooking me up with this flat panel. Anyway, back to the video. So let's finally see what this flat panel is capable of. Here we are in APP and I'm going between calibrated and the raw file. We can see the corrected illumination at work. It makes the image nice and flat and the illumination correct. So let's take a look at the individual master flats and see the corrected illumination. Wow, that's quite a bit of vignetting. I'll go through the various filters and we can see the differences between them. The Hydrogen Alpha looks a little messy, but that's quite normal for my setup. The luminance, red, green, blue and oxygen, they all look fairly similar with the same sort of light fall off or vignetting. Flats correct for this, they also correct for any dust spots you might have in your data, and it's really important to use flats to get the most out of your images. If you don't use flats, you can do battling this in processing to remove this, and that's not good. You might be removing detail from your actual data. This data looks really nice, the stars are super crispy thanks to the good seeing conditions I had, and I'm really excited to see the final image. There are some accessories that offer such huge quality of life improvements. Autofocus is one of those and something I would buy again instantly. This flat panel has made my life easier, and I know going forward it's going to allow me to push further than I've ever been able to before. To fix the issue I had earlier in this video where it looked like the flat panel wanted to fall off, I added just a little bit of spare of the nylon strap underneath the bracket for the motor. This added a bit more stability so when it opened and closed, it didn't want to fall off. Here I am just testing it and you can see the improvement quite clearly. It doesn't suddenly want to fall and opens nice and smooth and gives me a lot more confidence that it will be held on securely. This is because of my telescope design, it's no fault of the flat panel, and if you have a setup that needs a bit more rigidity, you can use the long Losmandy adapter that Wanderer Astro sell. I want to stand next to my telescope, but it's really hot and sunny at the moment. So the lighting here is a little bit better, so forgive me, you don't have the usual backgrounds to my videos. So I've been using this flat panel for the last week and it's operated flawlessly. In fact, it's been so perfect, I accidentally shot a whole new set of flats early in the morning automatically with Nina. So it's performed with zero hiccups and it's honestly given me so much peace of mind that I know the aperture is covered in the early hours. So the telescope is not exposed for any longer than it needs to be to the environment and potentially things falling down the tube. The flat panel operated flawlessly, automatically changed the lighting. The lighting was more than bright enough for my hydrogen alpha and oxygen filters. My hydrogen alpha exposure was 2 seconds long, which is way better than it was using my MacBook screen. This flat panel goes bright, but also goes very dim. When I was using the luminous filter, it took the brightness all the way down and allowed me to do equally very short exposures. My luminous exposure was at, I think, brightness value 1, so as dim as it went, and I could do 0.5 second exposures. Then within Nina, you can just add this to your sequence and it will automatically do a flat session at the beginning or the end or whenever you want it during your sequence run. You can see from the final image that I captured during this video that the flats are just perfect. They work flawlessly first try and I didn't have to reshoot them. That's something about flats that can get really fatiguing when you have to keep reshooting them over and over again because they aren't quite corrected, or you have some weird banding issues or just something going wrong. If you're using a sensor like the IMX294 or similar, then you probably know what it's like to have to reshoot your narrowband flats. And this will take that ambiguity out of your flat frames. This flat panel has been amazing and I've really enjoyed using it. Thank you so much to Frank over at Astro. He helped me get the right size for my telescope, and if I had to buy it again, I 100% would. Even with the discount, I would probably buy it full price because of the peace of mind it offers for me. If you want to check out anything featured in this video, links will be in the description below, whether it be for the telescope, the mount, cameras, the flat panel, or even this big 14-inch Dobsonian I've got behind me. And you can check out more videos featuring this equipment up in the playlists up here. And if you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing if you've enjoyed this video. Hit the bell notification down there so you get notified when I next upload. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and as always, my name's Ben, you've been watching V4-Astro, and to remember to keep looking up.